How we doing, everybody? This is Let's Be Real Brad, and today I'm going to be talking about my personal best film of all time, Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey. A lot of you guys want to know what is my personal best film of all time, and I hadn't really known an answer for a while. 2001 was definitely a top 10 lock, like nothing was taking this movie out. So I finally watched a 4K version because I just bought and I hadn't seen it on 4K. And it was truly incredible time to watch. After watching it and watching more of the special features and just having more of a deep appreciation of it than seeing it 2 years ago or seeing it when I was 15, I think this is the best film of all time. And I think the reason for this is this cannot be replicated. You can try to be similar to this movie like Interstellar, which I think the movie is entirely different. But this movie is so masterfully crafted in every single shot, every single frame. Directors now, they can make these masterful, amazing films, but they don't have the time that there's going to allow for this to happen, because this movie seems like it was so incredibly hard to make. The fact that everything was just used without CGI and everything is practical effects, and they use mind-bending tricks to trick the audience into believing something was real, is phenomenal. Everything about this movie looks and feels real. The only thing that is outdated is some of the computer screens. But I don't really care, because everything else looks amazing. The production design is the best of all time in my personal opinion. The fact this came out in 1968 and watched on the 4K looked like it just came out today. Nothing about it feels fake. Nothing about it feels outdated. It looks like it could come out today and I wouldn't even notice. The music in this film is iconic. It takes some of these classic musical scores from back in the day and they just make it amazing. And they just add so much epic grandness, especially in the opening shot. And so many moments in this movie where you have the boom, 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 dun, dun. And it's just like, oh, it's so good. The editing in this film is pure perfection. There is not one single frame where I didn't believe that I was like, oh, that was a bad edit. It flowed perfectly throughout. And I mean like perfect. It just went all the way through, nice and easy, like a nice, beautiful ocean wave. Gorgeous. I loved it. The cinematography is probably my favorite of all time. The fact that it, again, looks so real and it adds some of these amazing dark scenes and then the color boosts off the screen, especially with the 4K and the HDR. I could just sit there and just watch this movie. I don't even have to be paying attention. Just looking at the movie is gorgeous. There's so many different colored scenes. And the fact that this most trippy scene is so beautiful and mesmerizing is just truly phenomenal. The acting is also awesome as well. But the thing is, the acting isn't really at the forefront of this movie. You do have amazing performances as well, but they're not the center stone, as the characters aren't as well. Voice actor for HAL 9000 is probably some of my favorite voice acting. It's so disturbing. It's so creepy. The way the dialogue is spoken, it just gets under your skin until this day. And that part of the movie with Dave and HAL 9000 is probably one of my favorite sections of any movie of all time. And I say sections because this movie isn't a typical narrative. This movie's kind of broken up into different parts, but they all flow together, and it doesn't feel like it's just broken up, but if you were to break it down, that's how it feels, because they're just feels so different. I mean, if you can get through the Dawn of Man, then keep watching, because the Dawn of Man does really turn people off. I do think it's very smart, it's very clever, it's very subtle, and there's no dialogue, but all you gotta do is pay attention and just watch very closely, and it's gonna make sense to you. And that's what comes in with people would consider a criticism, but I don't think it is at all. And that this movie is very slow. It can be boring, I guess, in the fact that it's definitely made to be ambiguous. And what I mean is that this movie doesn't have a real center meaning to it. And a lot of movies do have this, but I love and appreciate movies that always keep you guessing and wanting to know what actually happened. Too many people, I guess dumb people, really want answers to the movies because it's just a general concept of we want as humans. We want answers to things. We want to know because we're scared of the unknown. Because nothing is really said. There's hardly any exposition in this film. And if there is, it's just a bare minimum to actually know what is going on in this scene. But as you keep watching it over and over again, as it was meant to be, you start to understand this movie and you realize there are no answers. You have to make that for yourself. That's what Kubrick wanted, because he's such a perfectionist. It's just because he's a master. He wanted everyone to have their own meanings. If you can go on Wikipedia, there is actually a whole massive article called about the interpretations of 2001: A Space Odyssey. There are so many different people that think so many different things about this movie. No one can actually agree on what this movie means. And that is the point. And that's why I think this movie could never truly be replicated, simply because of that. Scholars, professors, critics, fans have all been years trying to figure out what this movie means. Kubrick has done some small interviews. He has stated what he personally means for this film, but the way the movie is shot and filmed and written was meant to be that way, and that's what I truly love. I actually agree with almost all of them. I think you can combine all these themes and the meanings all together and have one big meaning. This movie is not for everybody. It's very challenging, and as I said, very slow. So this movie is going to be hard to watch for the average viewer. This is why I don't recommend this movie to anybody. Because it's a movie that's just not for the general public. People just love all the MC movies and all the Jurassic Park movies and Star Wars movies. This movie is unlike anything I've ever seen. This movie is intellectually very, very high. But it's not pretentious, though. And that's what I think truly works for me. This movie is also scientifically accurate, as he had a scientist person on the set, and he made sure that this movie was trying to be accurate as possible, the readings and the computer data and how the gravity and science would work as much as possibly can. And that's why this movie is even more appreciative, because Kubrick just didn't want to make this silly movie and just bend the rules as long as he wants. He wanted to make it realistic as possible because he is a master, and I always keep saying that. He is the best director of all time, in my personal opinion. I truly think it's the greatest film of all time, and this movie does require a multiple watches. You really can't watch this movie once and have a true opinion on it, because it's gonna be flawed and you are not gonna understand it. I've seen it 3 times, and now doing a review for it, I feel much better about it. I've grown a stronger appreciation for this movie, and I absolutely adore it, and I will watch it as many times as I possibly can, because every time I watch it, I get something new every single time. So, have you guys seen this movie? Let me know down below. I'm very curious what you guys think about 2001: Space Odyssey. Do you think it's overrated? Do you think that it's really terrible or it sucks? Let me know. I'm very curious. As always, like and share the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. You guys are the best. You guys are amazing. And I'm so glad that I can make incredible content for you guys, and we'll continue to do that as well. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video.